lads, welcome back to another deck profile today. It's yet another iteration of my scrap build. This is the current list that I'm playing, not only in the TCG, but also pretty close to what I'm playing in Master Duel, and I've had a really good time with it, been pretty successful with it. Oh, but of course, one more thing before we go. If you guys are new to the channel and you like the content, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below, and stick around for more deck profiles, combat tutorials, and anything we can to help turn you as either a budget or a casual player into a more competitive one. All right, let's go. All right, guys, and here we are with the actual deck profile, and for this, I'm actually going to just go through all the ratios first, and then once we get to the end, I'll have an actual discussion on how the deck works and like why I'm playing certain cards at certain amounts and whatnot. So if you guys want to hear the theory and whatnot of the deck, be sure to stick around until that point. If you're just here for the deck list, you'll have it in the chapters to let you know how much of it is actually the deck. So yeah, we'll start off with the main deck. I actually split this up into engines today, so this will be a little bit more digestible and be maybe a bit easier to understand. So starting off with the scrap package here, we are running triple Scrap Raptor, your main boy absolute must, as well as triple Scrap Raptor. This is actually like your best boy. He's the one you want to see the most. And then 2 Scrap Golem with 1 Scrap Orthros, 1 Scrap Goblin, and 1 Scrap Chimera for our Scrap Monster lineup. To pair with that, we have 3 Scrapyard and then 3 Fossil Dig, as well as technically 3 Urgent Schedule. This is the entirety of our scrap package right here. This is the majority of what gets the deck going. So, oh, correction, there was also a Scrap Factory as well. I almost forgot that in there. Now for the Machina lineup here, we have Machina Citadel, Megaform. I did not organize the Machinas. I apologize. Megaform, 1 Machina Ruin Force, 1 Machina Fortress, Machina Irradiator, Metal Cruncher, and then of course 3 Redeployment to help us search them out. So there's our Machina engine, not too big. All right, next up is 2 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit for our tuner engine. These are into our extenders now, as well as 3 Emergency Teleport to pair with it. I know it seems weird because it's a hand trap, but once again, we'll cover that towards the end of the profile here. And then just for like bonus extenders, these are mostly recycler targets and whatnot. 1 Christian Rosenix, 1 Heavy Freight Train Derek Crane, 1 World Legacy World Chalice, and then to pair with it for the World Legacy engine is double World Legacy Succession. So that's, and then to finish that off is 1 Monster Reborn for our extenders. Now we're kind of getting into, this is still an extender, but also basically a way to play 3 hand traps is 3 Triple Tactics Talents, as well as 3 Crossout Designators, and our Crossout Designator package being 1 Droll, 1 Nibiru, 1 Lancia, 1 Ash, 1 Veiler, and 1 Imperm. Kind of a bigger Crossout package, but it's a 60 card list, so who cares? The last appears are Board Breakers, and this first one's actually also kind of an extender, is 3 Jizukiru, the Star Destroying Kaiju. Next up, 2 Cosmic Cyclone, and then 1 Red Reboot, and then last is our only like pure Garnet, being a Codebreaker 0 day. That's it for the main. We'll go ahead and move on to the extra and then the side. All right, so for extra, this is mostly links. We have 1 Synchro, so we're gonna start off 2 Scrap Wyvern, 1 Halka Fibrax, card's great, 1 Lib for our World Legacy, 1 IP Masquerena, and then we have a Codebreaker package, our Codebreaker Virus Swordsman, and our Berserker to pair with the 0 day in the deck. 1 Trisbana, might swap this out later. I don't know. I'm thinking about getting a BLS eventually, but that's kind of pricey, so we'll see on that. 1 Apollosa, cards clutch, Nightmare Griffin, 1 Axis Code Tucker, 1 Boral Sword. Excuse the gold rares. Honestly, I love the premium gold, but I know a lot of people don't. So let me know down in the comments, guys, if you're into gold rares or not, because honestly, I love them. 1 Saryuja, and then 1 Underworld Goddess to finish up our links, and then our last extra deck monster is a Barload Savage. And now for our side deck here. Triple Evenly actually just came in today. Thank you, Sakura or Team Sakurasu, for sending these to me. Triple Dark Ruler. These are most of the extra deck is, or side deck is Board Breakers, honestly. Following that up, we got Triple Twin. Absolutely hate back row matchups. And our 3rd Cosmic is in here as well. We also have a Harpy's Feather Duster and a Raigeki. 1 Call by the Grave. And then last up is 2 Pot of Avarice. So that's it for the deck, guys. Let's go ahead and get into the deck and start breaking down some stuff here. All right, so while talking about this deck, we're going to be kind of talking it in stages, but honestly, this deck just slaps. Since we're playing a 60 card list, obviously we want to maximize as many starters as we can. So actually, thanks to a few key cards in here, we actually have, so yeah, we have actually 21 starters for this deck, and a lot of those starters like actually double as extenders, which is just insane. So like for the starters, obviously we have the 3 urgent schedule, because that can get you like any Machina name and a scrap recycler out on field. And it could also be a way to like extend as well. If you're going first, you can just set it in your back row and pop it off of Wyvern's second effect, which is really good, and then be able to search a Heavy Freight Train Dark Rain or a Machina name to discard, which is really good. And 3 Fossil Dig, 3 Scrapyard, pretty obvious. Searches our Scrap Raptor, so that's 9 starters. Then with the 3 Scrap Raptors, of course, that's 12. 3 Recyclers, that would make 15. And then we have 3 Machina Redeployment, which is actually a full combo starter, actually with extension, which is super cool. So there's 18, and then the 3 E-Tellies down here with the Ghost Ogres, in a way, are actually kind of starters. They're typically extenders, but basically any normal summon plus E-Telly is full combo, which is just super awesome. So actually credit to Pack for the E-Telly package, because I saw him playing it, I think, in his Sword Soul deck. Of course, we tech the 1 factory, because if we open up like Raptor and Recycler, basically you just use Raptor to pop itself and search for factory. So in that case, if your opponent ashes your Raptor, you're totally fine, so you can still normal summon the Recycler, which is super cool. But if they don't, then you get the factory and you just get like a really extended combo. It's just cracked. So, and as for like the specific choices, Chimera comes up for the grind match. Like, say we get it, we have a Raptor in our hand, we've already used our Recycler, dumped the Rosenex, so we don't have another way to get into Wyvern with Recycler. Then we can use our Raptor to search the Chimera, and then use it to summon back the Raptor, and then just make full combo from there, which is really cool. Scrap Goblin is here because he's a level 3 tuner, so you can summon him off a Hulk. And with Golem, he makes Borderland Savage. That's basically it. Scrap Orthros, really good extender. Basically, if you open Raptor and Scrapyard, or like a Fossil Dig, a Scrapyard, whatever, you can search the Orthros to be able to use it to pop your Raptor if you need to. So just really good there. Double Golem, we need double Fridge. It's a 60 card list. I would honestly have been thinking about bumping it to 3, but this deck list is like so tight. I'd basically have to cut like one of the hand traps from the crossout package if I wanted that to happen. And I want all of these in here, so I have options. Honestly, in my opinion, the best starter is Machina Redeployment. And speaking of the Machina package, basically this whole deck is actually kind of centered around the Machina package. I know it's scraps, but it's centralized about using the Machina engine to just get insane plays. For the extra like machine package, of course, you have to have the World Legacy package in here, the World Chalice and the Lib. Because this actually helps you play through Nibiru. Like, once you get World Chalice in Graveyard, your Lib is then live to add a set of Succession. The reason that I play World Chalice specifically, for those who don't know, is because on the following turn, I can banish it from the graveyard to add my second Succession. And of course, the Rosenex being our first monster to send off of Recycler 9 out of 10 times. Because usually you're only going to have the 1 starter. I mean, you have a really good chance of opening 1 starter, don't get me wrong. I need to do the math again to see on how likely it is to draw 2. But Rosenex is cracked. Even if you draw it, it's not a dead card. Because once again, you can get it out of your hand with anything that discards, like Fortress or Twin Twisters if you sided it in, or Nightmare Griffin later in the combo. There's ways to free it out of your hand. So it's the triple tactics of the Reborn. I don't really have to explain much. So the crossout package, I was very specific on this because after playing this game, or this deck for so long, I've started to realize like what hand traps really cripple it. And of course, anything that like affects my normal summon or my Wyvern is like big bad. So of course the Veiler and Imperm make a lot of sense there. They're very common hand traps in this format, as well as Ash. Droll, at this point, I'm kind of debating on. I haven't really seen it like at all recently, which is kind of interesting. It used to be like a really, really common hand trap, but I guess now that like Drytron's really dead, you don't really see Droll come up as often, so I might cut that for the Called by the Grave. We'll see. Lancia, I do a lot of banishing in this specific variant, especially with the Rosenex, and then also as well with the Ruin Force. Those are like, I guess those are really the only 2 things to banish. So, but Lancia is kind of relevant in this format. A lot more people are playing it because they think it'll stop the PK matchup. Spoiler alert, it just won't. PKs are just nuts. And then Nibiru, for obvious reasons. Like, if they Nibiru us before we get to the Apo, we're kind of screwed unless we have the out to it. I think that's kind of about it for like the main deck. The extra deck is actually pretty solid. The Borderland Savage actually comes up a lot going first or second. Like, say if I go second and I either urgent scheduled or I had to evenly, and I basically burn the battle phase, then I can end on a bonus negate with the Borderland Savage, which is really good. He also gets to be like really high attack, which is actually relevant in a lot of cases, I've found. Underworld Goddess is just another one of those really good at cleaning up like random monsters that are hard to deal with. Saryuja is really good to help free up cards out of her hand. Boral Sword for game is absolutely funny in 2022. I love seeing people just scoop at the sight of Boral Sword. It's absolutely hilarious. Same thing with Access Code, but Access Code's like kind of more expected. Nightmare Griffin, like I mentioned earlier, because players don't read, all they think he do is that he discards to set a spell or trap. Everyone forgets that nightmares have a second effect for linked monsters, or co-linked sometimes specifically. But yeah, Griffin, his second effect is just if a special summon monster is not linked, it can't activate its effect. That's not the exact wording, but it's just what it does. Apollosa, pretty good this format. I mean, even it was especially good last format, but I think it's still pretty solid this format. There's a lot more like normal summon reliant decks, which is really good. Just having an Apollosa is great. Trizbana is a good extra deck out to back row stuff, as well as the Codebreaker package, actually. Aside from just link climbing, once you get Virus Swordsman on field, you can actually pop your opponent's back row up to the number of linked Codebreaker monsters you have. So if you summon all 3 to your field, you have 3 linked monsters, and so you can just pop 3 back row like for free. It's awesome. IP to help protect stuff. I cut this out in Master Duel, and I'm kind of regretting it now. IP in general is just great, honestly. And then the 1 lib, like we talked about, to get our successions. And also the shuffling away when it's linked is also a really good effect, I'm not going to lie. Hulk. This actually mostly is to, if you can't get into scrap combo directly, but you can make a Hulk, that'll get you into scrap combo because you just you special summon scrap golem, and then you either link it and the Hulk off, or it and whatever else you can summon off, and make a Wyvern, you got full combo. And then of course 2 Wyvern, just because it is our main boy for the deck. So not really too much to talk about with the side deck. I kind of already like explained a little bit of it when we were talking about ratios, but I hope you guys enjoy this deck profile today. Let me know what you think of it. Once again, if you have any different thoughts on the deck, or maybe decks that I could run or consider, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I really open discussion. If you guys have any questions as well, feel free to let me know. Oh, and also if you guys want to see this deck in action, there will be a live duel right here for you to see on screen. And then if you wanted to see a combo tutorial of it where I explain all the plays, go ahead and check that out right here. That one will be coming up a little bit later. So if you're watching this on release, the combo tutorial might not be out yet. So just come back to it after a few days and maybe it'll be there. All right. Thank you guys for joining in today. Good fun. Have luck.